video is a what I eat in a day, but I'm going to do a work day versus my day off. So on this work day, which was a Saturday, I started off with my cup of tea and I just had a banana, and I also got a pain au chocolat out, and that was going to be my breakfast for the morning. It was one of those mornings where I didn't wake up particularly hungry, but I knew I needed to eat because I was working. So the bananas were about to go off, and the kids don't eat them if they start getting brown and bruised inside. So this was my breakfast, a nice and simple one. I needed to use up these half-baked rolls, part-baked rolls. I had 3 in the fridge and they only take 4 minutes in the air fryer, and these were going to be my lunch for work. This is what they come out of the air fryer like. I just let them cool down for a little bit before I cut them open and add my filling. I like to buy these for me and my husband, especially when my husband's working nights. I can keep these in the cupboard and they don't go off as quick as like fully cooked bread, and yeah, they work out great. So I had some the day before and I'm having these ones today just to make sure I use them up within the use by date. So I simply cut them open and then I butter them. I put some ham in and a little bit of mayo, and that's my work lunch sorted. I'm going to use 2 of them for my lunch, and I've done the third one because it needed cooking up, but I will put that one in the fridge and that will be my snack for when I finish work. Like I've said before, when I do these types of videos, we don't always get a break at work. We're entitled to a 20-minute break for the amount of hours we do, but if we know that we're going to do less, like it's a really slow day, we just don't bother taking the break because it's an unpaid break. So if we don't take it, we just get paid, and I will eat my lunch when I get home. But on this day, it was very, very, very busy. Like, oh my God, busy. It hasn't been like that in a long time. So we stopped for our break and I really, really appreciated that I'd made myself lunch. So I popped my sandwiches into my little lunchbox that fits in my tiny work bag, and I popped a little pot with the spare one in the fridge, and I'm just gonna pop an apple with it, and that's my lunch sorted for this work day. I also make sure I take a drink to work in a closed bottle, as we're allowed to take closed bottles around with us as we do our job. Now for tea, we could have had a takeaway this night, but instead we had a shop bought fakeaway. It worked out at £7. It was one of those meal things, so that's a lot cheaper than if we had a takeaway. The children had eaten earlier than us, so I just cracked on with this once it got to evening time. And we had the ribs and the sweet potato fries, which my hubby wasn't a fan of the fries. But the ribs were really nice. There just wasn't a great lot of meat on them. So there was a sauce packet we had to put on during cooking and a seasoning for the fries that went on at the end. So this is what it looked like. Like I said, those ribs didn't have a great deal of meat on them, but they were very, very tasty. So here I am putting the sauce packet on, and then I had to return it to the oven for 5 minutes and it was all done. It was as simple as that. And I had to put the seasoning on the sweet potato fries. It was Cajun seasoning, and my hubby likes it spicy, me not so much, so I put a little bit on and then he could add more if he wanted it. And this is what my meal looked like, and it went down a treat on this evening. So let's compare this to my day off. So my day off is a Sunday. I started with the same breakfast, a cup of tea, a pain au chocolat, and the bananas that needed eating. There is a theme when I do these types of videos. I eat what the children won't eat because I hate food waste. So that was my breakfast, and by 9:30, because my son got me up at 5:30, I was hungry again, so I just picked an apple and ate an apple. These green apples are really, really sweet. So for lunch, me and my daughter had the same thing. We had these mini pizzas and a sausage roll each. My son had chicken noodles and he just didn't fancy any pizzas. And I chopped up the remaining cucumber that needed eating, and everybody had some cucumber. I chopped the whole thing up and put it in a pot thinking that it would stay in the fridge and maybe I could use it for lunches the next day, but it was eaten. It was gone. People had it as snacks and my son picked on it. So, you know, it's worth chopping up things like cucumbers because people are more likely to eat food that's prepped. Everything went in the air fryer, obviously barring the cucumbers, and the pizzas fit in each side of my air fryer perfectly and only take 4 minutes. So that was a bonus. And this is what the plates look like that me and my daughter had. So we had 1 sausage roll and we had half a pizza each. And this was the pizza I had cooked as extra to go in the fridge. But by the time everyone came back for seconds, it was gone. It wasn't left in the fridge. And for tea, I decided to do a tuna and baked bean casserole because I had quite a few potatoes that I needed to use up. This is a comfort meal for me. It's super simple. So I was just boiling the potatoes, peeled and boiled them. And all I do is add 1 can of baked beans. You can add more if you've got a bigger family. My husband was working this night. So this loaf tin, I use a loaf tin to make it because it's a little bit deeper than my pan. But this loaf tin easily feeds 3 people, healthy portion sizes, like really quite hearty portion sizes. So if you added something to it, you could have this to feed 4. So I also added 1 tin of tuna that I drained. I just eyeballed putting in some sweet corn and some peas, and I just mixed it all in and put it in the bottom of the loaf tin. It was a really stormy, windy day outside on this day. And meals like this just hit the spot when it's horrible. These are winter warmers, as they say. So yeah, just a little bit of each. I didn't add too much veg. I didn't want to take away from the tuna and the beans. And you just give it a good stir about. Make sure everything's combined. And that's the base layer of this casserole. So like I said, I had the potatoes boiling at this point, and I added some milk and butter, mashed them really well, and spooned it on top like you would if you was doing a cottage pie or a shepherd's pie. And I topped it with cheese and popped it in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And it came out super gooey and just yumminess. Absolutely loved it. I ate way too much of this. I came back for seconds, and yeah, there was loads. It doesn't look like a great deal, but it made loads, and it was a fantastic end to the day. So thank you for watching my What I Eat in a Day workday versus day off.